Hello viewers, a very good evening and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network, and my name is Ronald Wekwamakusha. So we are taking a look on what is happening in the nation of Zimbabwe, and something very important is actually happening. China has dumped President Mnangagwa's government or administration, and they are vying for Mutsvangwa or Nelson Chamisa as they seek a sustainable investment portfolio in the lithium-rich Zimbabwe. Vice President Chiwenga is also out of the picture or out of the Chinese plans at this moment. Remember, there are vast deposits of lithium which have been discovered in the nation of Zimbabwe, and China need to be on the forefront of everything. They need to strategically position themselves so that they benefit their electrification industry. So it's becoming more interesting in Zimbabwe, but the problem with the regime in Zimbabwe or in Harare is that they are not trustworthy. They can't be trusted at all, and this has caused a lot of problems and a lot of troubles. So Majaira Jairos right here says it all started in 2021 when the Chinese Communist Party invited Christopher Mutsvangwa to showcase China in an interview with Xinhua. In return, China promised to support a man they believe in and who he had been an ambassador to their country. They promised him to help curb corruption. So there is a lot which is happening, and there are reasons why the Chinese promised Christopher Mutsvangwa to fight corruption in the nation of Zimbabwe. One of the biggest reasons being, if they manage to eliminate corruption in Zimbabwe, it will be easy for China to have a sustainable investment plan in the nation of Zimbabwe ahead of America, ahead of Russia, and other countries which are scrambling to get their hands on the new gold which has been seen in Zimbabwe, vast deposits of lithium. So what is happening is that Chinese are mining lithium at this moment in time, but they are not guaranteed sustainability. So they do not know if they put their money or inject their money into Zimbabwe in billions, if they will be able to take out what belongs to them. So it's very important to note that several policies have been crafted. These are beneficiation policies. Yes, they are good for the country of Zimbabwe or for the nation of Zimbabwe, but because of corruption which is happening, underhand dealings which are happening through Vanama twins in Chikwata, who are now the godfathers in the mining sector, the problem persists in the nation of Zimbabwe, which makes investors fail to trust the processes. So Christopher Mutsvangwa is one of the boys which the Chinese believe can actually do their dirty laundry and lead Zimbabwe. Let us take a look on what Christopher Mutsvangwa had to say, which made the Chinese actually agree with his vision and him.
China has given all the people of China, regardless of nationalities, a chance to become modern, to share in the dividend of development. The Communist Party has done well for China by organizing Chinese people, but it has also gone further to give its experience to other countries in how to use capital in a most efficient manner to develop a modern economy. So this is the historic goal which the Chinese Communist Party has over the years proven to be pursuing. They want prosperity for the Chinese people. They want prosperity for their neighborhood. They also want prosperity for the world. That's the biggest lesson which China has taught the world. That rapid progress is not centered around a particular nation, but it is a shared goal of all the world.
So this is what Christopher Mutsvangwa said regarding China. And here is why I believe that they share the same vision with Mutsvangwa. What is happening is Mutsvangwa is talking about modernization, Modernization needs to happen right here in Africa, not in China, because China is already modernized. So they need a government in Zimbabwe which is willing to bring modernization, such that when they come to do business in Zimbabwe, they will not continue to have a very high cost and they will maximize profits. The regime in Zimbabwe or in Harare has failed to guarantee the Chinese that opportunity to maximize profits in the nation of Zimbabwe because of very high costs, unreliable electricity, unreliable infrastructure, and everything else. Recently, we were told about a Chinese company which was fined 800 United States dollars for operating Starlink here in Zimbabwe. There is no reliable internet service in Zimbabwe, which means the Chinese cannot effectively monitor their mines through CCTV cameras, and also cannot remotely, efficiently monitor whatever they will be doing. So the Chinese need somebody who understands that modernization is key, and modernization must be spearheaded at this moment in time. So that is the reason why they've preferred Christopher Mutsvangwa or Nelson Chamisa, simply because these people are believed to be people who can actually propel what the Chinese need. So soon before, just before the elections, the Chinese officials in Harare met with Advocate Nelson Chamisa. They actually visited Advocate Nelson Chamisa. The sole purpose of the visit was to make sure that they familiarize with the possible next head of state. So I'm not so sure if I'll be able to bring the photos of Nelson Chamisa with the Chinese, but this is what really happened in the nation of Zimbabwe. So this is the picture right here of Nelson Chamisa meeting with the Chinese delegation. This delegation was sent to Advocate Nelson Chamisa solely for the purpose of making sure that they cement better relations with the next possible head of state in the nation of Zimbabwe. So if you take a look at the ZANU-PF and its minions, they failed to actually modernize Zimbabwe to an extent that it becomes attractive and it becomes a good destination of investment. That is the reason why you see the Chinese, they don't want to invest or long-term investments in Zimbabwe because they do not know their tomorrow. Today, Mnangagwa will be lobbying with EU, you'll be lobbying with Commonwealth, you'll be lobbying with the Western countries, and tomorrow you'll be seeking help from the Chinese. And the Chinese do not want such a leader. So VP Chiwenga either is out of the picture because he's out of touch with reality and has failed to do what they had agreed. So it's very important to note that this government of Emmerson Mnangagwa, no matter the circumstances, it is not going to survive. Why? Because it has lost the backing of the Chinese. It has lost the backing of the Russians as well. So they are now trying to establish new relations with Britain. But there is a problem with Britain because of its nature. ZANU-PF has been actually propelling a message that the British are colonizers, they are bad people, which means right now they cannot turn around, start working with the British. What will their voters say? What will their supporters say? So those are the very important issues to understand. And at this moment in time, it's done for President Mnangagwa. It's done for the ZANU-PF regime under Mnangagwa. Why? It's because all the limelight has gone. All the limelight is no longer there. Quinton, thank you very much for coming, and thank you very much for the support. He says, "How are you? I love your show, man. May wisdom and love our country may stay in you." Okay, thank you very much for this contribution, and we have to actually make sure that we liberate Zimbabwe. How do we liberate Zimbabwe? We have to speak the Zimbabwean language more effectively, that the regime understands what we mean. As young people, we have a future to defend. That is the reason why we'll do whatever we can to make sure that we dislodge this system without fear. or favor. So what is happening at this moment in time is that change will come to the nation of Zimbabwe. But let us actually know that President Mnangagwa and his team, they've lost support. So I'm going to recap key issues around that. President Mnangagwa is viewed as somebody who supports corruption. That's the view of China. He is perceived as somebody who supports corruption. How does corruption affect China? When they want to invest in Zimbabwe and somebody with bigger money comes, that person with bigger money is going to be preferred ahead of them, which means they will be given contracts and deals ekunyarwa sevanhu vagara vachimbopota vachisapota musangano. That will be the deal. So you see that China does not want that. They want sustainable environment which can enable them to invest more and earn more and get more. Secondly, the current government is refusing to modernize things. For example, the issue of Starlink, where high-speed internet is required in Zimbabwe, the government of Zimbabwe has failed. The government of Zimbabwe, we don't even know what is happening with electricity. There is no willingness from the government of Zimbabwe to make sure that there is electricity such that mining companies do not stop their activities, which means higher costs for these companies. So it's a moment of madness in the nation of Zimbabwe. And if you continue and continue and continue, you will see that there are a lot of things which this regime has been actually accused of. And it has fallen out of favor with other comrades. That is the reason why they are now hunting each other. There is more to talk about the politics of Zimbabwe. As I always say, these months, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, are going to be most interesting months or political months in the nation of Zimbabwe. A lot of political activity is happening. And thank you very much for coming and thank you very much for the support. I thank everybody who is joining us live right here on Africa and Beyond Television Network. I love you all. Thank you very much for the support. And I've shown you how the Chinese have actually started working with Christopher Mutsvangwa. Not only Christopher Mutsvangwa, but they've also reached out to Advocate Nelson Chamisa so that they cement the relationships between the possible incoming governments in the nation of Zimbabwe so that they remain influential in Zimbabwe. So what it means is Mnangagwa is done, Mnangagwa is gone, there is no Mnangagwa to talk about, and very soon you start to see ZANU-PF disintegrating and ZANU-PF falling apart. Forget about General is out of the picture, and brace up for change. I believe that the reason why Christopher Mutsvangwa is being targeted is because he has become so powerful within ZANU-PF, has become so influential in ZANU-PF, and has become so popular in ZANU-PF. That is the reason why you are seeing people like Wanakudzai Mutisi, they're actually defending Christopher Mutsvangwa, is because to a certain extent, they agree. To a certain extent, they are connected. And what will be the fate of those who continue to actually claim that I love Zimbabwe? It will be something else. It is what it is in Zimbabwe. I don't want to take much of your time. Please continue subscribing, continue sharing, continue commenting, and let us meet in other episodes and other podcasts. We still have some shows up to around past 10. So stay tuned as we continue to delve deeper in what is happening in the nation of Zimbabwe.